I'm a Catholic convert and a single mother of 3 beautiful babies, including one child who has special needs, who's autistic. And I'm here to share my story with you about how God truly works with our mess. For me, God has managed to transform my mess into my most powerful message. He has turned my greatest tests into my biggest testimony. So I want to start by thanking you for taking a moment just to listen, and I hope something from my story resonates with you. Romans 5:8 tells us that while we were still sinners, Christ died for us. I can't tell you how much that resonates with my own life story, and I believe that is the reason that God has me on this journey to share my Catholic conversion story with you. Now, I want to share my story briefly in 3 main parts. I'll start by telling you how my search and the calling began, and then I'll tell you more about how that deep dive discovery started to really resonate in my life, and finally, how God's grace, mercy, and love has transformed my entire being. So the search for me began as a young woman. I didn't know Christ, but He knew me. And all I knew as a young woman raised in a non-religious household was that I was searching for something, but I didn't know what. Surrounded by things a child should never see, domestic violence. Going to school was the greatest gift for me. And I remember feeling like something was missing, like I was searching for something, but I just didn't know what. I thought it must be money. It must be money and power and success. I would grow up to be a successful businesswoman or a hotshot lawyer and make loads of money, and I'll never have to struggle and suffer like this again. But I went on to be the first person in my family to get a law degree. I studied hard and I got my first big corporate job in the UK. And I remember getting that first paycheck, and it was more money than I'd ever had in my bank account before. But despite that feeling good, it certainly wasn't what was missing or lacking in my life. Money wasn't it. So then I said, Mum, it must be because I've not met my father before. I need to know who he is. And you know when they say never meet your heroes? Well, let's just say it wasn't the experience, the life-changing, fulfilling moment I was looking for. I was left feeling, once again, alone. So then I thought, why don't I explore some religion? And a friend of mine who was a Muslim at the time, out of his kindness, gave me the Quran in English. So I read it, and I was really grateful for him showing me that kindness. But it did not resonate. So I knew once again this wasn't it. But the ache, the thirst, the missing piece still hadn't left my life. And I started to feel a little bit defeated. So I poured myself into my work. And God works in mysterious ways, because I remember walking past this Catholic church that I'd passed maybe 1,000,000 times, and something was calling me to go in. And I didn't know what I was looking for, but I just knew I had to be there. And I remember going in, and I looked up at Christ on the cross. This was one of the most transformative moments of my life. It makes me emotional even thinking about it, because I couldn't take my eyes off him. And something throughout my whole body, my soul, my spirit, my heart, just said, you are loved. I am here. And I'll never forget that moment, because I couldn't understand what I was feeling. I felt sad, deep, deep sadness, but also I felt like exhilarating joy. And I don't know if you've ever felt a paradox of feelings like that, but it was overwhelming. And all I could do was stare with tears streaming down my eyes. I couldn't understand what was happening. So staring at the cross, I sat down. And I had been staring at Jesus on the cross for so long that I didn't realize the Mass had started. And it was only in the moment where my neighbor turned to me to shake my hand and say, peace be with you, that I realized my neighbor was speaking another language. I had sat halfway through a Polish Mass. I couldn't understand what was being said. And suddenly I was snapped back into the present. And as funny and as humorous as that moment is, and I can laugh about it today, it tells me that Christ was answering my search, answering my call, calling me home. Later, I met my then husband, who was a Catholic, and he wanted to bring me home to meet his family. This one evening, we all sat down to eat, and his father began to say a prayer, grace, and everybody bowed their heads, started to close their eyes and hold hands. And I'm looking around thinking, what on earth are they doing? I came from a family that didn't believe in Christ, and now we're going to pray over the food. And as much as I felt awkward and uncomfortable, that same feeling that I felt when I stepped into that Catholic church and was overwhelmed with Christ's love, I felt at that dinner table. I felt loved. I felt him saying, I am here. And that's how I knew Christ was working. Christ was loving. Christ was calling me. It's all well and good to talk about Christ and praising Christ when life is going well, but I have been through my fair share of trials and tribulations. I have an autistic 8-year-old son who was non-verbal, could not say a word, has a developmental disability and has sensory processing needs. And I'd gone through a divorce. The amount of anxiety, pain, stress, shame I felt, anger I felt, it caused me to stray from God. It caused me to use worldly things to block my pain. And once again, finding myself to be a single mother, not of 2, but of 3. But in all of that, God still was working on me. In all of that mess, God still had a plan for me. And I decided one day in my mess, crying on my bathroom floor, having a breakdown, that this was about to be my biggest breakthrough. This was it. I might not get into heaven, but my children will. So, if you would like to book me for one of your OCIA group sessions, events, retreats, or if you'd like me to come and speak, this is what God is calling me to do, and I would be honoured to come and do so. Please book in with me now or contact me to learn more.